Good evening, good evening, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time zone you may be in. This is Let's Talk Up Close and Personal. I am Dr. Nathalie Chase Thompson, and I want to welcome you to our live tonight. We were having some hiccups, but hiccups are okay because you just work through them. It's called life. It's part of life. The internet just wants to do its own thing, but we are going to persevere. You want to know why? Because these two ladies that I have with me on this evening, we have already been together. We've done our recording. We've done everything via Zoom. And I tell you, it just went poof, disappeared. And I was like, are you serious? He said, yeah. Been on the phone with text, with Zoom, whole 9 yards. Not only theirs, but like 2 or 3 other ones. But I said, that just created an opportunity for us to go live, an opportunity for you to get firsthand experience, firsthand conversation, firsthand Q&A with my guests for Let's Talk Up Close and Personal. I'm grateful for the podcast. I'm grateful for those that have supported us thus far. I'm grateful for those that supported us on 107.9 Praise Gospel radio station as well. We've taken a slight sabbatical for a minute. My plate was just running over, and we're going to come back to that. But right now, I am so enjoying my podcast. I am so enjoying our lives that we're doing. It is like phenomenal. The people and the opportunities that I get to meet during this time, it is priceless. That I'll put it that way. It has been priceless. So without further ado, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know this is going to be a little different for some of y'all. Guess what? It'll be okay. Like I said at the very beginning when I made the post, had the post put up, open your ears, open your eyes, open your mind, open your heart, and be receptive to hear. And after and I'll say after, and while you're hearing, listen. You will be surprised what these two ladies bring to the table. You will be surprised the wealth of knowledge and wisdom that they have. You will be surprised the love that they have. And the last time I looked, our foundation is built upon love. Love. I don't care how you dress it up. I don't care how you want to slice it or dice it. It's called love. So, Jennifer and Stephanie PageWise, they are quantum relationship coaches who work with the LGBTQ plus individuals looking for spiritually based relationships. So, without further ado, I'm not going to hold them up. They've been waiting a little bit too long. So we're going to go ahead and bring them in. How about that? Okay. Yes. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Hi. Hey. And I'm telling you, y'all are going to love it. Y'all going to love it. If you would allow yourself to. And I have to say that, unfortunately, because some people are just narrow-minded. And we know that.
Well, they just haven't had the opportunity to know us yet. That's all.
That part. Well, yeah. Okay. Okay. You're gonna be nice. Okay, you'll be the nice one tonight. Okay, you'll be the nice one.
Don't worry, I'll be badass later.
You can be the nice one tonight. That's cool. But when we got together the first time, it was so refreshing. Just for us just being able to talk and to share. And the truth came out, and it was good. It was a check moment for me. So now I know you know what I'm talking about, right? That you said that you were wondering about me. So before we even go any further, I want to go ahead and address that. And this will actually open up for us to go in. And at some point, we're going to keep a look at the comments because we want and we welcome your questions. We welcome your questions. I'm going to say again, we welcome your questions and your comments, because if you don't ask questions, you'll just be assuming. And this goes for anything. A lot of times we've been taught not to ask questions, but that's not wise, because you have all misconceptions and you get all discombobulated all in your head and wondering why, you just got stinking thinking, or nobody accepts you, or being rejected, or everybody clings to me, whatever end of the spectrum you might be on. But we want you to engage. I like interaction, even to the point that I may actually open it up to where if you want to come in live with us and ask a question, if the ladies are in agreement with that, we're going to do it. And because this is what this is all about. Let's talk up close and personal, raw, uncensored, uncut, getting to know each other, bridging the gap, building relationships, building rapport, building a network, not just ministry, not just business, but life. That's what we're here for. So, y'all, which one of y'all want to ask? Want to tell me the question that?
Well, since I was the one that shared it last time.
First of all, I have to say, because of, my little bit of OCD here, I have to say that on the screen, it says Jennifer and Stephanie, and I'm Jennifer, so I'm not under my name. And so this is Stephanie. So so we can make that clear that Jennifer is the one with the blue hair here.
She wants her identity very clear.
I have to have my identity with this blue hair. We did a recording yesterday. It was funny because I was wearing a blue dress too. And the lady we were doing this recording for a future podcast, and it was only recording, but we were recording like we did with you on Zoom. So she obviously could see us, but her listeners were not. And she's like, but I just need to ask you, Jennifer, what's your favorite color? Because I was wearing a blue dress and the blue hair.
And the blue hair
matched perfectly.
So everything blended perfectly. So she just, had to make a funny out of it that, that it was obvious that blue's my favorite color. So anyway, I'll let Stephanie ask the question. Talk about the question, because she's the one that brought it up when we spoke last time.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I think what you're referring to is what my hesitation in coming on your podcast. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when we are offered to come on a podcast, we've been on a couple that we weren't really sure that were good fits for us. And so when I saw Dr. Nathalie Chase, pastor, I was initially like, oh, I made some assumptions, but I was scared because a pastor from the South interviewing a couple of lesbians. Okay. Are we being set up? What's going on here? Is this someone who's friendly? Is it someone who wants to bring our message to their community? Or is it someone who's like going to do the bait and switch and kind of set us up for more controversy, which is not something, but so that was my hesitation. And I did share that with Dr. Nathalie because we were having such a beautiful conversation that I felt that it was safe to share that.
And we had done our research and listened to some of your podcasts before we agreed to become guests, because of the fact that
we were a little hesitant
because we want to make sure that the people that are interviewing us are open, hearing what we have to say and accepting of who we are, because we are all human beings, right?
That part. Yes, we are. Definitely that. And let me tell you what happened when she asked me that. I literally froze, and my heart, it's like, okay, let me breathe on this, because that is one thing that I never want to come across as being. I am not religious. I am not religious. I'm going to say that again. I am not religious. I am a spiritual being. I am kingdom. I am love. I am what God says that I am. And what that is we are to love everybody. And for her to have even remotely thought that about me, I said, okay, God, I need to go back to the drawing board. I need to go back, and just like this ring light is on me, and I can't stand it, it's in my glasses, but it's okay. But just like this light is on me right now, and it's hot, I need to go, and I want you to put me up under your light. And I need you to go from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. Open me up. And anything that you find in me that's not pleasing, I need you to take it out. Because I know not everybody is going to receive me. Just like I'm not going to receive everybody. And that's cool. But I strive to embrace everyone. I know we're living in a willy-nilly world right now. And it can go from A to Z in 2.2 seconds. The killings and the hate and all of this, it's on a rampage, and I get that. But I don't have to participate in that. And I don't want to participate in that. And I'm not going to participate in that. So much so that I called for a meeting of our senior leaders for the ministry. And I made an announcement that a division of Operation Faith is going to be geared towards the LGBTQ community. That we will be engaging even more with the community, because we're here to help. And I left that on the table with them having the option. If you are not comfortable with that, and if you cannot get past that, then this is not where you need to be. It's real simple. I'm not the one to lead you. I'm not the one to pastor you. I'm not the one to cover you. If you cannot see beyond that, if you cannot see people, but you see, and I don't even like the fact that we have to even classify anybody, to be honest. I got an issue with that, but that's the society and that's the world that we live in. The Jewish community, the Black community, the LGBTQ community, the Hispanic community. Why not just community at large? Because although we may put people in categories, it might be some of everything living on your street, and you don't know it because they're not announcing it. So that's just how I am. That's how I felt. But Stephanie, that humbled me, and we talked about it, but what I was grateful for was that she saw that I was not what she thought that I might be. And baiting and switch, that's not in my DNA. I'll come straight for you. You don't have to wonder. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to guess. So I said all of that. I wanted that to come out first, because this is why I said the Q&A will be there. You're able to put your comments in. But what will not be permitted is being rude or disrespectful. And it's sad that I even have to say that, but it is what it is, because this is my platform. I can have whoever I want to have on here, and I can say whatever I want to say. And if you don't like it, it's called exit.
But, you know, we have to do the same thing even in our groups. And, you know, our group is primarily the LGBT community, but we find that there is still knife throwing in our own community.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. And you know what, Jennifer, I'm glad you even said that, because we're people.
Right.
We're human beings. We're all human beings. It's, you know, we just have different preferences, but we're still all human beings with the same proclivities to act out the same way, to do some of the same crazy things or lovable things. So yeah, it is what it is. So we're done with that. That's the housekeeping. We're done with that. Now, I don't even know where I want to start tonight. Let's see. Yes, I do. I was thinking about that. Oh, yeah, and it's the first thing even on here. We said, what is your what, who, or why for the path you are on for your life? And it's funny because that's what I was thinking about before we got ready to get started. I said, I really want to dive into that because this is going to help so many people. For you all to talk about your journey, be it heterosexual or LGBTQ, doesn't matter. Be it married or single, be it a relationship with a parent and sibling, a parent and child or siblings, it doesn't matter. It covers across the entire board. So, ladies, why don't you share with us?
Our why or our story?
Your what, your why, and who?
Our what, why, and who. Wow. We're going to be here a while. You know, our why is very simple. We've very clearly defined that. And that is that we want to bring more love to the world. That's it. It's just simple. It's not about sexuality. It's not about gender. It's not about the color of our skin. It's not about anything other than helping us all remember that we are divine children of God and that we are meant to love each other. That's it. That's the mission. You know, and I guess the what is relationship coaching. Yeah. You know, and to focus on spirituality as the basis of having a holy relationship with anybody,
including yourself.
Right.
You know, it has to start off with our self-love. We talk about that a lot. That, you know, many of our clients are single and you have to start with you. Because how are you going to attract the right people into your life if you don't love you? How are other people going to love you? You know, Stephanie was talking about this last night in one of our trainings, that if you only love yourself 30%, how can you expect someone else to love you 100%?
Whoa.
How would you ever trust it?
How would you ever trust that they do if you don't love yourself 100%? So we have to start off with loving ourselves. And that was one of the biggest lessons for me and, you know, in life, that I stopped loving me and my life fell apart because I didn't love me.
Yeah. So I think that's another what is like what it is our spiritual journey to awakening. That's how we got to this spot of doing what we're doing right now. Jennifer and I have known each other for 12 years. We were together for 6 years. And then Jennifer had become disabled. I became, you know, trying to be the superhero, working multiple jobs, taking care of everything. And I lost myself in that role of superhero. She lost herself when she lost her identity as a career woman and capable mom. And we fell apart. We broke up completely. I mean, we didn't even talk to each other.
Except to say, are you picking up the kid to go do something with him? And when are you bringing him back? That was the conversation.
But during that time, we both realized that our sense of self was what was missing. Okay. We had loved each other, but we hadn't loved ourselves. Wow. And we hadn't cultivated our self-awareness and our authentic self. We started behaving from our trauma self or our conditioned self.
Whoa. Talk a little bit about that right quick. You don't have to stop me when I hear you.
Well, how many of us are seeing our relationships through the wounds that we've experienced from our families of origin?
And even from society.
And even early relationships. You know, if you ever met someone who had a boyfriend or a girlfriend cheat on them when they were in high school, very likely, even if they're 60 years old, they always have that in the back of their head.
Is someone going to cheat on me?
Is this person going to cheat on me? Even if they've been married for 25 years, they're checking their phone, they're checking their messages. They're always looking. So we start to see each other through the lens of our pain and behaving in the ways that we learn to behave, usually as children, in our foundational years. So I, and Jennifer will also attest to what she experienced. I was the oldest of 4 children, with parents who struggled sometimes to be present because they were stuck in their own stuff. And I love them dearly, but it's the truth, and they would agree with me. And so I started taking a lot of responsibility for everything in the household, making sure that everybody was okay. I was always aware of everybody else's feelings and trying to be one step in front of everybody's discomfort so that I could manage the chaos. So I was trying to manage stuff. So then Jennifer got hurt, and I was trying to make her life as good as possible when she was miserable. So I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, like I did when I was 7, behaving like my 7-year-old self, not my 40-something self.
Yes.
And eventually I completely burned out and I ran away.
And for me, I grew up with parents that struggled with mental illness, then became a child of divorce, and had to then become the parent at a very young age.
Of her mother.
Of my mother. I parented my mother starting at about the age of 11. So I had to grow up really fast. I became uber responsible, then put myself through college, career woman, all of that. And as Stephanie said, then I became disabled and I had to give up my career. And I felt that I couldn't be a good mom anymore. I mean, everything fell apart and all of my trauma came bubbling back in and I shut down. And then Stephanie, again, as she said, tried to fix me and lost her sense of self. And this is what this is what we do when things get tough in life. If we don't have the proper tools to have that self-love, to heal the trauma, because we all have had it, no matter who you are, there's been some trauma. It's part of being human. This world creates trauma. It just does.
Yes.
So if we don't have the tools to heal that trauma, we bring them to the new relationships or any relationship we're in. If you had a very strong boss, it could cause trauma. Anything, any relationship, because we're in relationship with every human being we come across, right?
Yes.
So it's not just a relationship among, a husband and wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a wife, whoever it may be. It's you and your parents. It's you and your children. It's you and the person in the grocery store.
Yeah. And that's, I remember when we were talking and when you were sharing about, having to take care of your mom and when Stephanie was talking about how she wanted to be the superhero for everybody, but in the process, both of you forgot about yourselves. And this is why I said this can apply to anybody. Because if you lose your sense of self, you literally become like a robot, just going through the motions day in and day out, neglecting you, but just, I got to make sure everybody's right. I got to make sure everybody's good. I got to make sure everything's good. And little by little, you're dying to yourself. Little by little, you're self-sabotaging yourself. Little by little, you are fading off into the sunset. And if you're not careful, you'll go so far that you can't come back. And if others aren't around you to say, hello, wake up, come on, come back, you're doing too much. And sometimes literally having to come back, to get our attention, not physically slap us, but, to get our attention. And you, Jennifer, as a child, and it seems like, I think the last two or three recordings and sessions that I've had, that's what has happened. The little girl or that little boy, from having to take care and become from, not the child anymore, but now literally becoming the caregiver, is now screaming, saying, let me out, but I don't know how to get out.
Mm-hmm. I spent so much time as an adult, I didn't even know how to have fun, because my fun was taken away because I had to grow up so fast. So, wow. Now I know how to have fun and I can laugh and I can joke. Yeah. I was so serious that it was crazy, but I didn't know how to have fun anymore because I lost who I was. I didn't, I lost that childlike nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like you said, you had to grow up literally, like almost overnight. You had to grow up and become that person. And like Stephanie was saying, she became her 7-year-old self all over again. So both of you actually had to learn how to heal, actually be healed, before you could go any further with anything. And Jen, with you being a single mom, and that was just compound on top of everything else. So how I like how you said, I don't think y'all work. Yeah. When you coming to get the boy, when you bringing him back, that was it. But now
that was it.
I know we're gonna bounce all around a little bit.
That's okay. We're good.
Good. Okay. Cool. Now, your relationship, like you said, fell apart for 2.5 years. But with a lot of inner work, you found your way back together, and you feel that you can help others find true happiness. Share a little bit about that journey. That was quite interesting, especially how you came back around to each other. That was really interesting.
Well, we both realized that something had to change in our own lives individually. My life was, I spent most of my days in bed. Okay. I wasn't able to walk. I was, fitted for a wheelchair and told that I would never walk again. And I'm like, wait a minute, something's got to give here. I have a young boy that needs me. At the time, he was only 10 or 11.
Oh, wow.
And this was not the life that, I had signed up for. I wanted to be able to do things with my son and enjoy life. So I started doing some, got on the internet. I'm like, okay, what's out there? What kind of self-help can I get myself involved in? And something came across my feed about, 40 days to self-love. And I was like, oh, 40 days to self-love. I can invest 40 days of my life. Okay. I got to figure out a way to love myself here because things aren't going to get better unless I do. Mm-hmm. And it was the opening of my spiritual journey. I was born and raised Jewish, and just didn't quite fit in there. And it had nothing to do with my sexuality. I just didn't quite fit, and I didn't know why. Something wasn't quite right. And then when I found this gift of spirituality, which I really didn't know much about, as opposed to, the religions that are very, square and boxed. I was like, oh, what is this? And started my spiritual journey. And it, as crazy as it sounds, again, Stephanie and I were on very separate paths at that time, but we both ended up studying the same exact spiritual text, not even knowing that we were doing that. So, God always has a sense of humor, doesn't he?
Yes,
or she.
Does.
Oh,
yes, he does.
Yes, he does have a sense of humor. And one day Stephanie noticed this book, because we were studying A Course in Miracles, and A Course in Miracles is over 1,000 pages. So it's quite a thick book.
Yes.
And she saw it sitting on my nightstand, and she was kind of like, what are you doing with that?
Yeah, I think I had to pick my chin up off my chest. I was like, what are you doing with that book? I said, that's what I'm reading. I was just astounded. I couldn't say anything else. I just left. I was
you exited.
Exit stage left. I got nothing.
Wow. Now I really want y'all to talk about that class session. But Amy shared, she said, it's an incredibly difficult journey back once you've lost yourself. It's hard to know where to start, and it's just so overwhelming to deal with anything at that point.
Indeed it is.
It is. When you get that low, it is hard to know what to do next to find your way out. But it's possible.
It is. It is possible, and I think all three of us would agree. The first thing is asking for help.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. You can't dig yourself. I mean, if you think about it, it's your bottom. And wherever anybody is, let it be your bottom. Let this be your bottom. And look outside of that deep pit that you find yourself in and ask for somebody to help you out. That's the only way to do it. And, and that person you ask first, don't assume that person's going to be with you the whole journey.
Yes.
It might be the right person for that time. The person who helped me out of my hole, I don't even speak to anymore. She was there at that moment, and it was perfect at that moment. And then things changed, and it was time for me to move beyond. And her to move beyond. And it's okay. I sent her great love. So don't be hurt if someone comes onto your path for just a little while.
Just for a while.
You can feel your feelings, feel the sadness, but you kind of need to expect that. As you grow, people are going to come in and out of your journey.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And Lisa says, when you're that low, it's even more difficult to ask for help. And it is. It's almost like, I think you need to get down on your knees. It's when you're laying there on your chin and there's nothing left to do. And you don't have to get humble, because that's all you are.
That's all you are.
There's no ego left. You were just laying there. And you're just like, help me, please.
That's it. I tell people, even some of my clients, I tell them, I said, it's okay to have a 2-year-old tantrum. It really is. Don't do it all the time. Don't get a cut, to where that's your scapegoat. But it's okay to have a 2-year-old tantrum. Sometimes scream. Just literally just scream, holler, cry.
Let it out.
Something. Let it out. Let it out. I am one that I do not like to cry. I'm a water bucket, but when I'm going through things, I don't want to cry. If I'm experiencing something with somebody else and whatever, I can let it all go. I can just cry. But when I'm going through something myself, it's always been hard for me to, because everyone has always looked at me as being, oh, she can handle this. She can handle it. She can handle it. She can handle it. And I'm like, the hell you say? No, I can't handle it anymore. I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of having to walk around and be this shero. But even with that, you got to be careful who you open up to. You have to be careful who you open up to. And just like Stephanie was saying, there may be somebody that comes along your path for that season that is actually placed there just to help you get through. And when you've gotten through, don't try and hold on to them, because they're not there to stay. They're just there to help be a guide and walk alongside you to go. I heard Jennifer was saying that during that time of that breakaway, she basically came into herself, came into her spiritual being, her spirit became alive to her. Some people would say, well, that's when you had your aha moment, your encounter. Okay, some people that are not faith, that may not be Christians, they may be Muslim or Buddhist or whatever, wherever that moment came where that break of dawn happened, that light, that daylight, that day sprung open, and the light came on where you could see again, you could exhale again, you could even find yourself being able to start briefly laughing again. You felt that crack. You haven't smiled in so long to you're able to actually get a smile, and like, wow. And you begin to take refuge day by day, just like a baby. Day by day, getting stronger and stronger day by day. What kind of dog is that? Is that a dog?
That's actually a cat.
That's my cat.
Good God, that's a big cat.
She's a big boy.
Whoa, I thought that was a
Nope.
That's a cat. I call him the beefsteak.
Goodness, that sucker is huge. Like,
He's heavy too.
I want to be seen too. I don't care.
Oh yeah, he likes to come join us when we do our videos. He's funny.
Yes. Wow. And Amy came back and she said, exactly, I felt like it cannot get any worse than this. What do I have to lose? Must find something to get me feeling even a tiny bit better. I feel you. I was always the strong one, and it was really hard not being that for people around me and myself. It was necessary, though, because that wasn't who I really am. Wow. Which one of y'all want to grab that one? That wasn't who I really am.
I definitely have learned that that's not who I really am. And, even today, even to this day, I have to remind myself sometimes that it's okay that I don't have the answers and that I need to ask for help sometimes. It is okay. And, that's the wonderful thing about a relationship, is that when Stephanie needs my help, she can ask. And when I need her help, I can ask. And we just have to be there for each other, because neither one of us can be all that all the time.
All that all the time. You wear yourself out.
And we've both done it. Yeah.
Exactly.
We know what it does to you. We've done it. And
you will wear yourself out.
Yeah. And then you're no good to anybody, including yourself.
Exactly. So now, tell us about your class experience.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about this one. I love it. So Jennifer had been having some medical procedures, and I was attending a spiritual center here in Toledo, and I was very much in love with this place and the people there and the experience that I was having of awakening, truly, and just felt home. And I was happy for her that she was on her path, and she was, I was proud of her. I was so excited for her to find her way, but I was guarding my spiritual center with my life. I was like, oh no, you're not going there. No, 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 no. That's my place. And yes, I was being a little selfish. I will own that completely. But one night we had gone to Cleveland the night before her medical procedure because she had to be there at the crack of dawn. Mm-hmm. And we're laying there in the dark one night talking about our spiritual path. And out of my mouth pops, "You should come to Unity." Mm-hmm. And I was like, who said that? Oh man, I'm just laying there like my eyes probably got as big as my saucers. And I'm like, holy crap, I just invited her to Unity. I didn't mean to do that. But, it was spirit talking through me. Mm-hmm. And I had to just surrender to it. Mm-hmm. So she ended up coming to Unity. Now, I've known this woman for quite some time now at that point, like 7 years. And she never sticks with any of these things that she starts. That was my history with her. She would go to a spiritual community. We'd go a few times. Then she's like, no, I don't like it. And we wouldn't continue. So I was okay. Yeah. I had this little back of my head.
But it was always the Jewish community.
Right. Okay. So, but I had this little thing in the back of my head. It's like, I'm still safe. She won't like it. Mm-hmm. Then she came. And everybody was like, you're wonderful. Stephanie's wonderful. I think they thought I was dating her at that time because I didn't tell them anything. Okay. And I'm like, I'm not dating her. I'm not. No, that ship has sailed. And but she did. She fell in love with it and she was coming. And I got used to it. I wasn't happy. I really wasn't. But I kept doing my thing. She kept doing her thing. We really were separate in what we did. Until this one time when Reverend Claudia and Brother T were going to start teaching this class called The Way of Mastery. Okay. And the first book of The Way of Mastery is called The Way of the Heart. And when I heard that, my heart fluttered open a little bit. And I said, ooh, I've got to take that class. So I went and signed up for it immediately. And then Jennifer and I were talking after service, and she's like, oh, I can't wait for A Way of the Heart to start. And I'm like, oh, no. Oh.
Oh.
What? First she's staying, and now she's going to be in the same class as me?
Oh, my goodness.
And I wasn't happy about Stephanie being in the class either.
Because we were barely talking to each other at that point. Now we were both going to the same spiritual center, so we were much more cordial. We were doing okay, but really not buddies. Not at all.
And then we get to class, and there's only 8 of us.
8 of us. So I'm sitting next to my... We couldn't hide. No hiding. So I'm sitting next to Brother T, who's my buddy. He's my mentor. She's sitting next to Claudia. We're both as close as we can get to them for protection because now there's this scary other person.
They're husband and wife.
Now they are.
Yeah. They weren't yet. They were fiancés, but she was the spiritual leader and
he was her sidekick. So, but this was a year-long class.
Every week.
And it's a path to awakening. And so we have to start being radically accepting of our own stuff and taking full responsibility for our stinking thinking. And now I'm still holding anger at her. I will honestly admit that I was boiling underneath with anger at her. And I also took a prayer class at the same time, like maybe a few months in. So I was taking this prayer class where I was learning to pray in a way called affirmative prayer. And I was taking the way of mastery. We met every week. We had homework. We had to read. We had to discuss. We had to bring something to talk about in class every week. So it was not we're just going to show up and have the chat. It was intense. It was like a graduate program.
Oh, wow.
And then I did the prayer class on top of it. And I woke up one night, and this is a true story, 3 a.m., just seething with anger at this woman. Could not go back to sleep. And I'm a good sleeper. I don't have this problem very often. And I heard Spirit say to me, you need to pray. And so I wrote an affirmative prayer to her about her, asking for forgiveness to come into my heart for her, because I was not willing to live with the anger anymore.
Yes.
And I wrote a most beautiful prayer. I shared it with our spiritual leader and asked her to say the prayer every day. I said the prayer every day. I read it every day, morning and night. And you know what happened? Miracle occurred. I had no more anger.
Yes.
It took a little time. I don't even know where that prayer is. I assume it's in one of my boxes of journals or something. I hope it is, because someday I want to read it again. Okay. But it did what it needed to do. And it opened my heart in a way that I had never experienced before. I had never been so angry and then just had it released. It was just beautiful.
I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm thinking about my ex-husband. And I remember getting to the point of hating him. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's taking way too much energy. Has taken way too much time. That's taken way too much. I mean, like it was almost every moment of my free time went there.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I go to sleep with it. I wake up with it. Okay, this is not good. This is not good. I can love everybody else. I can be happy with everybody else. But this man, oh no, and just like you, I began to pray a prayer. First of all, about me. About me. Not about him, about me. Asking, Holy Spirit to work on me, to show me, the good, bad, ugly, and indifferent of me. Show me. And that I was ready to see me. And once I was able to see me, I realized that my mind wasn't so much on him anymore. And even during that process, I began to forgive him. I began to actually be able to see some things through his eyes as to why he did some of the things, why he said some of the things, but still not excusing him for his part. But yes, not excusing him for the part that he played in it, but taking ownership of what I did, taking ownership and responsibility for my part in it. And just like you said, it when it happened, it was so easy. It was so easy to forgive. It was so easy to move forward with it. We're good friends now. We can talk and we can laugh. A lot of people think we're crazy, but we're not. Talking about, who he's with and all this other stuff. But we've gotten to that point. And once upon a time, I would have never thought that would ever happen. We didn't reconcile, and that's cool. But my main thing was I didn't want any animosity there. I didn't want that. I didn't want that animosity to be. I didn't want that spot to be there, because had it been there, I was going to take it wherever else I went.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute whoever I'm with started acting like remotely like he did, what was I going to do? Freak out, spaz out, or turn, tuck tail, and run? So yeah, I wow, that's good right there. That's good right there. And you being in the same place made you, and I was listening 1,000 pages. You had to do intense study. You couldn't have casual conversation about this. You had to involve and go deep into deep conversation with this. So throughout all of that, you began to get to know each other all over again.
Well, and we got to know our authentic each other.
Just like Amy was saying, because that's not, because the person before was not really who you were.
No.
And this is why I prefaced on the post, and I'm just touching on this again, why I asked for anyone that's viewing, be it Facebook or YouTube, that you open your ears, come with an open ear, come with an open mind, come with an open heart, because we all experience some of the same things.
Yeah, this is not about who we're with. It's about who we are.
Yes.
It's about love.
That's it.
Love is love is love.
That's it.
You know, and forgiveness is an inside job. She didn't have to do anything for me to forgive her. It was all me.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't cause that anger. I created that anger.
Yeah.
I was the only one who could undo it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we label, you were talking about in the very beginning how you don't like labels. I don't either. As much as we're a tribal species, why are we a tribal species? What makes us think that this is important?
Yeah. Yeah.
We do not need those. That's a separated mind.
It is.
And we are not meant to be separated. We are meant to believe in oneness. We're all God stuff.
That's it.
It's time for us to evolve past tribalism. Right?
Yes.
For goodness sakes.
It doesn't matter the color of our skin. It doesn't matter the sex. It doesn't matter our sexual preference. None of that matters.
Doesn't even matter the color of your hair.
Or the color of your hair. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because all three of us have different. There's a whole lot of stuff going on.
Right? But we're all human.
Yes.
We're all spiritual beings trying to live the best life we can and make a difference on this planet so that we can evolve.
Absolutely. Wow. And that is so true. Because I was having a conversation earlier, and I told them, I said, what would happen if you were blind? You can't see color then.
Right.
You can't see. You can't hear gender then, gender preference then. You can't, but all your other senses kick in.
Right.
But also, even as independent as that hearing impaired or sight impaired person or physically impaired person may be, they have to also learn how to depend on someone else to help bring them through, to help guide them, to help, so why not? Why not move past this? Why not, if I love you, I love you. because it's going to be one of two things. Either I'm going to love you or I'm going to hate you. One of the two. There's no middle ground. There's no middle ground. And we can always agree to disagree. And, well, when we were together the first time, now Jennifer did a lot of talking. Tonight, Stephanie's doing a lot of talking. And Jennifer's being quiet. So Jen, come on, share, talk.
Well, it's just, I don't know what more to say except that we just have to love who we love. And it doesn't matter. We shouldn't have to feel that we're being judged by who we love or what we love. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you guys are saying it all, so I'm just kind of taking it all in tonight. But, we do what we do because we want to bring more love to the planet.
Yeah.
And everybody deserves to have that.
Yes.
In their life. So let's all heal the trauma that's caused us to have these barriers to love. And what a happy, better life this planet we'd all be on if we all loved a little more, right? I mean loving everybody. I don't mean just an intimate partner. I mean loving the people you pass on the street and loving the people that you think are probably the most unlovable people in the world, because in our spiritual belief, if it's either you're loving someone or it's a call for love. So when someone does something that you think is angry or hateful, and I don't like the word hate, but love and hate, we kind of think of them as opposites. But if someone does something that you feel is in a negative fashion, I'll leave it at that. Okay. It's a call for love.
It is.
And if we can look at it that way, we could be a little more understanding and accepting and saying, okay, that person's asking for love. How can I give it? Even if I have to do it from a distance, because I'm not going to put myself at risk and become a target for somebody.
Yes.
But I can love you from a distance.
Yes.
Because we are all one. So I can send you energetic love.
I like that. Amy is like really engaged, and I don't know who you are, but girl, I love you. Yes.
We know Amy. Amy's one of our kids. So she's lovely.
Wow. Yes. What did she say? She said the unlovable ones are in need of the most love. Massive call for love. You are absolutely right.
Right. But we don't have to let them into our inner circle. That doesn't mean we have to do that. We can send them love energetically.
Yes. Because there's the right person, our opportunity just has not come about to where you can actually, where that person can actually tap in as to why they have these obstacles or these hindrances in their life, or these stigmas in their life, or because we've been taught a certain way to do this, or we've been taught a certain way to see this way, or carry ourselves this way, because like you said, as far as choosing who you're going to be with, whether it's a young girl dating for the first time, or it's an older person dating or getting ready to be married for the third time, I don't care where you are. It's always going to be there's always going to be somebody that's not going to be happy for you. There's always going to be somebody that's going to have something to say. There's always going to be somebody that's going to hate on you. And it's okay. It's okay, because it comes again to where when you're good in your own skin, when you're good with you, and when you love you, it becomes the love that you have for yourself, not arrogance and not conceited, not being conceited, but the love that you have for yourself, it becomes a repellent. It becomes an actual repellent to the negativity. And just like the young lady I was with earlier today, she smiled. Oh my God, that girl smiles so much. I'm like, a person could be mad, but they couldn't be mad around you because your smile will make them start smiling whether they want to or not. And then she just kept laughing. She just kept laughing. She just kept laughing. And I'm like, oh my Lord, Jesus. You know, and we, for the first half, we couldn't do it. We were laughing so much at each other till we forgot what we were actually doing. You know, what the purpose of what we were doing. But that's when that aura, your spirit just oozes with love.
Yep.
Your spirit just demands peace in your space. That you won't allow any negativity to come in your space. As well as it's like a repellent. It becomes a repellent. You want to say something? Go ahead, jump in.
You know, and I think we don't even perceive it the same. When we're exuding love and somebody walks into our space and they're angry or something, we perceive it more like a call for love because we're like, what's the matter? I mean, what's going on? I mean, everybody's happy here. What can I do for you? Our generosity grows.
Yes.
So we can accept them for who they are. We don't like we said, we don't have to hug them in and be like, you're going to live with me. But it's like, oh, it's okay. You can go be angry over there. It's okay. It's okay. I honor you.
But I'll send you love from over here.
Yeah, but we don't, you know, when we're in a weak place and full of our own negativity within ourselves and towards ourselves, we take that, we reflect that and magnify it within ourselves. So if somebody walks into our life and they're just in a cranky mood, we magnify that to our sense of self and it just grows.
Yeah.
And then it reinforces every bad thing you've ever thought about yourself.
Oh, yes.
What a vicious cycle we can be in.
Yes. Now, what is it? Okay, let me see. Laurie said, wait a minute. And I'm not sure it's either or with love. Wait a minute. No, that's not one.
I think she's saying, I'm not sure it's either or with love and hate. She's not sure that there's a dichotomy there.
Okay. And then she says, and then Amy came back and said, absolutely can be from a distance. And then Laurie came back and said, I am trying to maintain neither. Okay, now Laurie, I am trying to maintain neither. Can you share a little more about expound on that a little bit? And even if you want to come in, I'll even send you the link so you can come in. How about that? I'm just saying.
Be careful what you wish for. She's a talker.
And then it's like, then she said, what gray area has been critical for meeting. Then Amy says, if I can't do love, I try for ambivalence. Sometimes I can do, yeah. Okay, hold on. Yes, ambivalence. Okay, sorry. Okay, wait a minute. It's okay. They're moving too fast. If I can't do love, I try for ambivalence. Sometimes I can't do it. Sometimes not so much.
Right.
I'm good. And Laura said I'm good with that.
So she's good with coming on. So if you want to send her
that's what you're saying. Are you saying
that's
you're good with coming on? That's what she's saying. Alrighty then, doggone it.
Oh boy. Surf's up, kids.
I didn't know how long we were going to be on here tonight. Y'all will be all right. And if we're on here for some of y'all, you can jump off.
I might just need to go to the ladies' room. I'll crawl under the desk to get out.
I'm actually going to. I'm opening up a Pandora box when I just put it in. I just put the link in the chat section.
It's okay. You don't have to let anybody else in. You're in charge.
Yep, you can choose who to let in.
Girl.
That part. I know, right? I'm like, hey, let's do it, doggone it. Let's do the darn thing. Let's do it. So
I'll behave.
Says.
I've met you, Lori.
I've met you, Lori.
Okay. So all right, whenever you get here, we're ready. I love this. I do. It's cool. I mean, and that's the whole thing. I want people to feel free to come and share. I want you to feel free to make your comments, to ask your questions. I see comments, but I don't see a whole lot of questions. So I want you to ask
some questions.
Yes. Some Q&A. I know you have questions. I don't care who you are. Everybody has questions about something.
Lisa.
She said, Lord have mercy. Okay, Lisa, you must know something. All right, so everybody's like, okay, Natalie, you don't know what you just opened yourself up.
Surf's up.
I gather that's what I'm walking into. No problem.
No, Lori is awesome. She has great ideas.
Yeah.
We love and she often challenges us, and it's a beautiful thing because we think of challenging, as that questioning is kind of sharpening the sword. It's the alchemy process that helps us be even more clear about who we are.
Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna shift
She's
our
trying
screen
to get in.
this, and I'm gonna bring.
No, I'm in.
There she is.
I don't want to be the main one. Hold on. I want to bring. Wait a minute. I don't want to be the big picture.
Oh, I lost you.
You're still
no, you're here. I want to.
Who's the host?
I want to see if I can.
If you're the host,
again.
you're the big picture.
I am. Oh goodness! I know. I don't want to be the big picture. I want everybody to see everybody. Dang it! Oh, how about
there you go. You got it.
There you go. Now
what
I'm gonna do?
We're all together now.
We're all together now, doggone it. Yeah, we're gonna. So I'm gonna take this off the bag. There. Hey, Lori, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I don't know.
Is there a delay?
A little bit of one, yes.
It is? Okay, I must not.
Okay.
Now, everybody seems to say that Lisa said, Lord have mercy when when you were coming in. I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Well,
but I'm here.
I'm entertaining at the very least, but at least I'm a thinker.
Okay. Okay.
Indeed.
Cool.
Yes, she is.
Cool.
So what I was saying is I think in my experience that there's a lot of people out there who have a hard time with gray area. So when we talk about love and hate, there is I think for me, my survival has been a middle ground. I don't have to love that person, but I don't have to hate that person either. And maybe at some point on my journey, maybe I could get to a love, but honestly, I don't want to. There are people who can abuse you in a way that you have to separate yourself from either emotion to reclaim yourself, to reclaim who you are. Or if you got lost years ago in something, you have to find out what you lost in yourself and where you want to be. So the idea for me was, I'm not going to love her. I'm not going to hate her. That all takes up more energy than I want to expend because I'm busy trying to figure out what the hell am I supposed to be doing right now? Where should I have ended up that I lost my path? So I don't want to know. I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about that person. And it's one person in particular, and Jennifer and Stephanie know who I'm talking about. But it's just not worth any of my time or energy. And also, because this other person is the other parent to our children, I continue to watch the harm being done to them that I can't forgive. I can't, because even if I could forgive and love and open up my heart to after what happened to me, as I watch what continues to happen to my two kids, it compounds the whatever. So again, it's not even love from a distance. It's I feel nothing. So that when my kids present a situation that I could react to, and my reaction is critical for them to learn how to deal with her. Because as my daughter has said, she may no longer be anything to you, but she'll always be my other parent. So I got to deal with that.
Yeah.
So how I react makes a difference. Deal with these kinds of people. You know, I don't need to love her from afar, but maybe my daughter does. And the best thing I can do is remain neutral.
Yes.
And let my daughter find her path. Don't say anything bad. Don't say anything good. It sort of goes back to, I said to her today, and she's 20. Do you want to talk about that? She had a reaction to something that happened last night. And she's like, no, I'm good. I talked to my therapist, but I didn't react, good or bad, to what happened to her or what her feelings were. It sort of frees her to do her path if I can remain neutral.
Right.
Yes.
So that's where I'm kind of coming from, the gray area. We have to find gray area in some instances. That's all.
Thank you, Lori. You know, wow. That even gave me something to think about. You're absolutely right. Yeah. It is. It's like, let me rethink this thing. You're right. Sometimes it's not a black or white area. There is a gray area that's necessary. You know, I don't love you. I don't hate you. I don't have anything for you. It's almost.
But I still have to deal with you.
Yeah.
In some way.
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost as though you're non-existent. Even though you exist, you're non-existent. But I have to keep you in that place so that I don't hate you. I have to keep you in that place so that I don't react to you. So that's a safe place for you to be. That's a safe place for me to be. And especially, like you said, especially when there are children involved. I don't care, grown children, young children, and you see what's being done. But Lori, one thing that you said that I totally agree with. There is no need for you to have to say anything about them, good, bad, or indifferent, because that child will come to their own conclusion of the matter. Now, I see, wow, and okay, somebody from my team, and I don't know who it is. They put on here, well, first, Amy said, completely agree and beautifully articulated, Laura. Ambivalence is sometimes as good as it can be. And then person from my team says, you two have a wonderful spirit, and the world needs more folks who give of themselves to help others. I'm sorry I cannot stay on, but I have enjoyed you and loved the message. Keep hope alive. And Lori, you are so right. Love of fellow humans is a must, but you don't have to deal with them. And you should seek to not hate. We have to keep our own energy for what we need and find in that space to allow for a neutral spot. Bam. There you go. Abso-darn-lutely, as Larry Reed Live says. Abso-darn-lutely. You did. And she said she was gonna come on and behave.
She did.
She's behaving. I love the fact that she came. I'm so thankful that you came on and you shared that, because
absolutely,
again,
you're welcome.
This goes across the board.
Thank you. Well, thank you for welcoming me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. You know, goes both ways, doesn't it?
Yes.
And we love you, Laurie.
I love you guys.
We love playing and having the good times. You know, it's and I love your point in there, and I think you're absolutely right. There's space for the gray area, and I think we do. I mean, we have to take people out of our lease space. It's like, you don't get to lease space in my mind. You're just out there, and you know, I love that. You know, with your perspective, your position kind of between these two factions, you are kind of playing Switzerland, you know, in some ways. You're just like, how can I be of service to my children?
You know,
yeah,
you have to.
Yeah,
oops,
absolutely.
Lost you.
Yeah,
you do, because you know, I know for me, growing up with divorced parents, that you know, my sister was raised by my biological father, and he did not speak nicely of my biological mother to her, and he tainted who she believed my mother to be. Whereas my mother, even though she had her mental illness, did not speak badly of my father and let me make my own choices by his own behavior. You know, she didn't say, well, look at this and look at that. I was able to see it myself and say, oh, you know, I don't want to be around that. But for my sister, she was tainted to believe that my mother was this terrible human being because that was his hatred of her. And I give you a lot of credit for not doing that, because that's a hard position to be in, to, you know, because you've been hurt, but you're doing it for your children.
I've made my mistakes.
She's doing it for herself too, I believe.
Believe me, I've made some horrific mistakes with that. You know, some would consider, and I'm still paying the price for mistakes I made in things that I said to her directly in front of the kids, not behind her back. It was so it's not like I'm talking, but it's not easy to do that. But I get the sense that she's done it to me, which made it even easier, because my daughter has looked at me and said, she's saying this, and I'm being like, well, you believe what you want to believe. She's not here. I am, you know. And it took a long time for my son to get that, because at first he believed everything she was saying. And then it finally dawned on him that she's not here. She's saying how horrible mom is, but she's not here, and mom's the one who's feeding me. And mom's the one who's, you know, I live in this house. Who's taking care of me? You know, it's like psychologically he got it. I don't even know if he understood it on a conscious basis.
Right.
So the more the other person digs themselves into bad karma, the easier it is to just keep your mouth shut.
Absolutely.
Let them dig their own hole.
Absolutely. And you know, and one of the things that you were saying was so true, because just like Amy was saying, one of the greatest gifts her mother gave to her was she was never speaking of my father one way or the other. She didn't talk about him at all. That way she could decide for herself. That's what's going on with me. You know, don't have to say anything. They can they can draw their own, they can come to their own conclusion as to what's going on and decide for themselves. Even children can see and know the difference. But what I find in so many cases is that the children are used as pawns. The children are used as pawns. Well, you know, because I have the right to do this, I'm going to do that. Not even taking into consideration the trauma that you're going to impose on this child by what you're doing, because you want to be nasty, or because you're in your feelings, or because you want to show who you are. Forget about who you are. We should always think about what's going on with these children. Right.
And that's why we have to do the work that we do. Because we end up with these adults who have been traumatized as children.
Yeah. That part.
Well,
yes.
Well, adult children could also be traumatized.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I do know of adult children who were used and traumatized, and even think the.
Oh no! Come on, Laurie! Come through!
Come on, Laurie! Come
on, Laurie! Come on! Come back! Oh snap! Crackle and pop! Laurie!
Hopefully she's gonna pop back on.
Oh, there she is. She's coming back. She went inside.
Coming back.
Yeah. Was that me or you?
You.
That was you.
No, that was you.
Oh, sorry.
We're all still here.
Wait a minute. I'm an IT person. I've got several network points in my house. I shouldn't have gone dead.
You weren't supposed to say something.
There it was. Right. The gods and goddesses shut me down for a moment. No, adult kids can be abused and used and not realize what's been done to them.
Yeah.
So
we're all vulnerable to that.
We're all susceptible. We're all susceptible.
Yes, we are.
So here's what I will leave you all to finish up your what you started and I jumped in on. But thank you very much for the
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Bye, Lori.
Well, guess what? And you see the timing of this? It's an hour and a half. Look at it.
Sounds perfect.
We could not have planned that any better if we wanted to.
Yep.
Yes. This was good. This was good. Mm-hmm. This was real good. I appreciate it. Now, any questions that come in after, I'm gonna make sure I send them to you. Any comments that come in, I'm gonna send them to you. You know, because this was so much wealth in our conversation tonight. It was so wealthy. This was such a wealthy place to be. Mm-hmm. And I once upon a time I would say, well, I'm so sorry that more people didn't tune in. No, I'm not. Some people are watching and they just didn't click to let you know that they're watching. And that's cool. Mm-hmm. But I don't care how it's, and the fact that it's going to be here, it's not going anywhere. I'm not taking it down. Is even better. But if people would just embrace people, if people will open up their ears and open up their eyes and open up their minds and their heart for understanding, we are students for life. We are forever learning. Just like Laura did. I've always been When like it's a black and white, it's black and white, it's either this or that, it's either this or that. And when she actually positioned it the way she did, yeah, you're right. There is a gray area. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes there is it's a necessity for that. Wow. I love it. I love it. I thank you. I thank you for your hearts. I thank you for your spirit. I thank you for your love. I thank you for allowing me into your group. And we want to talk about that real quick. Your Facebook group, and and wherever else that you can be found, and how you can be reached for your counseling and coaching and all of that stuff. I want to make sure that gets out there.
All right. We can be found on Facebook. Our private group is Enchanted Awakenings. So they just have to do a search for that. And our website is enchantedawakenings.love.
Didn't get
Oh,
that.
And there we are on
the
Instagram.
That's your Instagram
Also,
right there.
Instagram is enchanted.awakenings.
Yep.
So those are the places that we can be found.
Yep. And I posted a couple of times in the chat, so you can see my name in the chat conversation. So you can always friend request me, and then you'll be able to see, all of my connections. And there's the Facebook group link. That's perfect. And we could put that in the comments too for folks. That'll be nice and easy for you. So, it's like we said, it's all about love. We're talking about holy relationships and how to have clear boundaries, how to communicate, and how really to live the best way that we can as humans. It's just about up-leveling and being that growth mindset. And, anyone who has any comments that, you were not sure you wanted to put up there during the live broadcast, we welcome them. That anything that might not be, that might sound like you're questioning us, helps us open up more to who we truly are and to more love. So it's good. We love you already, and we just want to share with you. And, I love to be questioned because it helps me really define myself.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And it allows us to learn because as you said, we're always the student.
Always the student.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you made me become a student, and I welcome that. I'm glad, even I had to, just because of the the possible perception, and because of what has happened to you in the past. So yeah, it's we're students for life, forever learning, forever learning.
Yeah,
and that's. Go ahead.
And I just need to share that what you said is when you were talking about being challenged and how you went to Holy Spirit and asked to be opened up and shown that's something that I need to do about a couple things. And I got the message this morning that I'm not connecting with Spirit as much as I could. And that's why I've been struggling so much. And so you saying that reinforced it for me. And so that, you've opened me up, and I appreciate that. And just our last conversation opened me up. And that was the weekend of our first anniversary. And I've been in a funk for a while, and our conversation I was over the moon. We had the most beautiful weekend.
Oh, wow.
And you were part of it. And so we thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, because I'm going to tell y'all, by the time I got finished, I was sitting in my office and I was like, okay, I'm just done. I'm done. There had been so much weight on me prior to us getting together. And by the time we finished talking and laughing and opening up with each other, it was like, oh, Lord, thank you. And wow. And I just thought of something right now. and this might sound a little crazy to some of y'all, but it's okay. And we're getting ready to shut down. Being over to my aunt's house, they called her Big Red. She had a 3-story house. And on some of the second and on the third floor, the house was so big that there were apartments inside of the house. And every year, a lot of the queens would come through back in the day for the convention and all. And then there were others that actually lived there. And I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden, I was like, remember I was saying how relaxed I was, and I just had a reflection of when I was a little girl. And one of her name was Diane. That was her name, Diane. And I would go in. My cousin Arthurine and I would go in, and we would just sit and just talk with her. And just being around her was so pleasing and so comforting. And then with her beginning to teach us as little girls how to carry ourselves, talking to us, teaching us, guiding us, and I know that was one of the reasons why I just love people. I love people for who they are. I love people where they are. I don't have to like you, but I can love you. I don't have to like all your ways, but I love you genuinely, and I fell in love with these 2 ladies because they are so genuine. And I know there's, people have been throwing shade at me, and it's because of this, but it feels so good not to care. It feels so good to be free. It feels so good to be, like I said, being comfortable in your own skin, knowing who you are. And for me, I choose to exhibit what my creator is all about, and that's love. And that's all I'm going to say on that one. That's all I'm going to say. So, and always, even on the podcast and everything, I allow my guests to leave the final thoughts and the final words. So we're going to be doing this maybe every Friday at 7 p.m. live. I'm leaning towards that. Every Friday coming on live, and as well as on Saturday, we have a 6 p.m. and we have Friday afternoon at 12 p.m. for our podcast as well. But this is Let's Talk Up Close and Personal. I never know who the guests are going to be. I never know what the conversation is going to be. All I know is God has called me to present a platform where people can just come together and be themselves, agree to disagree at times if necessary, at the same time to be able to get their voice heard, to be able to share their lives, share their stories, in hopes that it would help someone else, in hopes that it will bring some healing to somebody, in hopes it will bring some enlightenment to others. That's my purpose. That's my call. That's my charge. And most of all, that's my passion. And that is my pleasure. So I thank everyone for joining me. I'm going to let Jen and Stephanie close us out. And hey, if you're interested, just go to www.drn Chase T. I had to think about that. Dr. N Chase T, just like my name right here, .com. And you want to be a guest? Let us know. You want to advertise? Let us know. You want to sponsor? Let us know. We have several causes that are going on. We have one in particular. It'll be on the page. The information it may already be on the page. I'm not sure. about a family that we are in desperate need of helping as soon as possible. But you can find that information there, both on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere else that we're found. So Steph and Jen, close us out.
Well, I'll start and then Jen can finish.
Okay.
I just am so grateful in this moment for having this time with you, Dr. Nathalie. It's opened me up yet again to more and more of love. And I'm just kind of, I can feel my mind swirling into greater and greater things that Spirit's calling forth. And I thank you. And, you know, Jen and I have made a pact that we only want to work with people who we would love to sit down and have dinner with. And you're one of those people. And I thank you for being who you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, don't make me cry again.
You know, I can just echo, thank you for your love. Thank you for your acceptance. Thank you for having us and hearing what we have to say and letting your folks know that love is love is love. We are no different than anybody else. We really aren't, and neither are you. And please, if any of you are struggling with accepting who you are, know that God did not make a mistake. Mm-hmm. God does not make mistakes. You are who you are because God chose you to be that. Mm-hmm. And if there's anything that we can do as a team to help you feel into who you are and be who you are meant to be, we're here for you.
I did good. I didn't cry this time, y'all.
I'm just a bit misty.
I'm only a little misty.
Yeah, they were coming up, but I made it through it. So on that note, I love y'all. And as always, I close out with this. I wish above all that you are safe and that you are well. Enjoy life. Love, laugh, and live. Stop existing, but live your authentic life and be the best you that only you can be. So on that note, I thank you, Jen. Thank you, Steph, for joining me. And good night to everyone. God bless you. Oh, Jesus, thank you.